literally preparing my questions beforehand because that's who I am. Why do I get pimples on my fucking chest? Ooh, look who's here.
Fearless, write it down, all of your weirdness. Scratch it off, wipe away tears. It's me, my friends, making an appearance. 1, 2, 3, 4, it's the fearless.
Hello. Hi, honey.
Hi! Oh my god, you're so fucking gorgeous!
You are so gorgeous.
I can't get over you! Hi, how are
It's
you?
so happens. Hi.
It's been so long.
honey.
What are
I
you
thought I was
doing?
going to get East Coast here pretty soon.
You are, girl. You are. But it's still not
Good.
going to be San Francisco. Wait, how far away is San Francisco from Los Angeles?
Easy. It's an hour and a half flight, like hour and 20-minute flights, and a 5-hour drive.
Oh, 5 hours. I thought you were like, it's an hour and a half drive, honey. It's like
5-hour drive.
Oh, man.
But it's funny because in California, it's such a huge state. We're like, it's nothing. It's a 5-hour drive. But, you know, East Coast and like Midwest, people are like, 5 hours, that's like 4 states away.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's like from Chicago to Kentucky, real quick.
Yeah, don't go to Kentucky.
No, oh my God. So you and I probably share this. We have this in common where we're always kind of soul searching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was always in this place of running away. And, you know, they have that phrase, right, where you can't run away from you. And I'd like to continue that and say, you can run away from you, but you'll never shake the feeling of being chased, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
Right? Do you have
There's
that?
nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere to hide. Yeah, I wrote a song recently. It was like, I got places to run to, but nowhere to hide. That's so true. And I fucked off to the Appalachian Mountains really quick because I had this bottle of apple whiskey and I was going to pull a Henry David Thoreau and just write in the woods. And once that bottle of whiskey was down to like here, I was like, oh no. Because then you're alone with yourself, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I had to go to Kentucky, and Kentucky I don't want to say Kentucky sucks because some people may be from Kentucky.
It's tough. I mean, I've spent very little time in the South and just what's happening and all over just, you know, internally. And I think it's really hard to confront those shadows. Right. And it's one thing when it's a big cultural shadow and it's reflecting your own shadow, and all we can do are confront those places, but it's really fucking scary.
Mm-hmm. I think people are mirrors to ourselves, and what we don't like in other people, we may have parts of that in ourselves, and that's why we don't like it, or vice versa, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, it is scary, isn't it, to be vulnerable?
Yeah, and I think that in terms of relationships, absolutely we seek people out that are mirroring us. And what I have found is my love relationships, like the romantic relationships, are the deepest digging in terms of my fears, my anxieties, what I'm comfortable with, where my boundaries are. Because with friends, you know, I can sort of take you or leave you, or I don't talk with for a while, or, you know.
Absolutely.
But those romantic ones, it's just like you can't
avoid it.
You can't avoid it.
You can't avoid you in romantic relationships. And I don't know if it's because of the intimacy aspect or I don't even think it was really the sex part. I think it's really because you're allowing someone to get close to you in a way that you don't allow friends to.
Right.
Well, speaking of romantic relationships, I feel like I'm a pop culture queen. I feel like what's her name? Wendy. Who's like, speaking of your new boyfriend, you guys are so cute. Before I deleted my Instagram, I saw pictures of you and I was like, yeah, he's so cute. You're so cute.
He's so cute. I know.
How did you?
And he has a British accent, which makes him that much cuter.
Oh my God! Of all the people, you would have one that has a British accent. Absolutely.
How did you meet? We met a year ago in London, And through the year, it's just been one of those things of like, okay, is this going away? Okay, it hasn't gone away yet. Okay, we're seeing each other again. And it just keeps continuing. I haven't seen him. I went to see him over the new year, and that was the last time. He was planning to come end of March, and shelter in happened, and all of a sudden it was just border closed, no travel.
Wait, so are you still with him?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, I was like, this is gonna turn into a sad story real quick. No, oh my God, good. So it's just like you're doing essentially what we're doing with him right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
A lot of that, like every day?
Pretty much. I mean, we talk every day. We don't necessarily have like long video chats every day, but we definitely talk every day.
You kind of have to. It's like a gentle reminder and that I'm here. You know, hi, I'm here. I love you. Yeah. Is it love?
Yeah. It's love. It's love. And I think that what has been so beneficial for me in this experience with him is he's fucking wild card. You know, he's like unfiltered, very extroverted, very like, yes, I'll do that. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, I want to try that. Yeah. Oh. You know, and so my fears have really been put to the test. And what's so fascinating about it is like the connection is so strong between he and I that we've been managing the distance. And the fears that pop up are like, he's triggering them for sure. He has triggered them. But I'm like, this reminds me of this thing with my dad when I was 12 years old. This is like, and it's like these really old things that come up for me.
So are you just powering through them?
Yeah, I'm powering through. And we haven't had the chance to live together. So that's what's really interesting is I haven't wanted to let him go. I want him here. I want to be able to try this with him. And I feel like that's our next corner. It's like, can we be together for longer than 2 weeks in the same space?
Right, because when you're with someone for 2 weeks in the same space, of course it's going to be like the honeymoon phase, right? Where it's like, I'm so excited I finally have you in my presence, and then you guys can go fuck off and have your own lives. Where it does kind of feel like your lives need to cross at some point in a much more prominent way. So yeah, it definitely feels like that's the next step. When you were describing it, it almost sounded like, you know, just give the people what they want, a little background on us. Like, we met on an ashram. So we've got some yogi in us, right? Yes. So it sounds like he's a karmic relationship where it's like all these things are coming out of the woodwork. Hello. And you're just like, I guess I didn't heal as much as I thought I did.
Right. Absolutely. And what was so shocking about meeting him. So I was in London with a very good friend. She's British. She went up to see her family. And I had told her 2 months prior to us being there, she was buying her train ticket. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stay in London for 2 days because I just have a feeling. So yeah. So we connected online, he and I, in London. We did like both on Bumble and Tinder while I was there. And when I met him, I was like, oh my God, who is this guy? Like the way he moved, he's kind of moves like a hummingbird, and he's a little goofy, and he's kind of, you know, a little awkward, but in this very charming way. And we ended up spending 2 days together, those 2 days. And when I finally got on the train to meet my girlfriend up at her family's place in Northern England, she had this gaggle of girls that were visiting her at her mom's, and they were like, oh my God, tell us about the guy that lives on the barge. I just started crying. I was like, I don't know what I've just gotten myself into.
Oh.
So yeah, it was like karmic from the beginning, that I knew that this guy somehow, even though I didn't know it would be a year, I don't know, maybe it's another 20 years, maybe it's the rest of my life, maybe it's 2 months. I have no idea. But there was something that I was very aware of from the beginning, that this was like huge.
This is huge. Oh, wait, hold on one second, because somebody turned the air on and it's so loud. Hold on one second.
Yeah, I kind of want to fix my light too. Oh, that's better.
Okay, thank you. Oh my God. Yeah, dude, this does sound huge. What do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned from him?
I think that it's always trusting in myself.
See, that's so interesting. I think maybe you and I are very similar, where our outward facing self is very like confident and secure, and then internally we're unraveling as we speak.
Yeah. Well, the mind is like always going, and always problem solving. And I think that's probably how we both found ourselves spending a month in an ashram together, was the sort of ability not to turn off the mind, because that's impossible, but just to like focus on other things than like that constant problem solving, roller coaster of thoughts that's just constantly percolating.
When you left the ashram, first off, two questions. Number one, what's your relationship to anxiety? Number two, did you feel leaving the ashram you had more or less?
That's a good question.
Thank you so much. I'm a professional. Thank you.
Yeah, no. Please.
Thank you.
My relationship to anxiety is, generally I'm in a space where I'm pretty aware of it. When it comes up, it's often around social interactions, it's around sharing myself in like a really personal, creative way, like sharing my poetry, for example. And I'm oftentimes just aware that the anxiety is present and where it's coming from. Now, being able to work through that, right, and still say, you know what, I don't feel comfortable going to this party by myself, but fuck it, I'm gonna go. When I'm able to do that, which obviously, of course, it's not every time I'm able to push myself through that veil of anxiety, but when I am, this sense of empowerment that I feel is just, it's worth it. It's always worth it, whether the party turns out or whether I get in, leave 20 minutes later, or the poem falls flat on whoever's listening. Just my going through it.
Yeah.
That's
enough. The expression is enough sometimes. So then the second question about the ashram, because you and I don't think I've ever asked you this. What was your reasoning for going to the ashram?
So I was in the middle of a divorce. It was a completely amicable, beautiful unraveling of a romantic relationship, which had begun to unravel in November, and we were there in March, right? April.
Yeah, I think it was
of that following year.
We were at the ashram in May.
In May, okay.
Yeah.
So let's say 6 months later. And when that catalyst of like, this marriage is ending happened for me, rather than allowing myself to really spin down the drain, I recognized I needed to show up for, I have 2 daughters, and I needed to show up in a way that was as an example to these girls. And so I just like hit therapy, hit yoga, hit all of these things that were like, this is a tool. This is a really healthy tool. This is where I need to be. And then the ashram itself was about solidifying that direction of how I wanted to be in the world, with the yoga, with the meditation, and the clean living.
Mm-hmm. Did it stick with you? And with the previous question of like anxiety and everything, because that we both went into it with our monkey brains, right? Mm-hmm. So when you left and you solidified all this amazing, great hard work for not only yourself but your children, did you feel almost like really vulnerable? I call it sticky. Did you feel like sticky leaving the ashram, where you're just like, I've found myself in this new way, or I've solidified myself in this new way, and now I don't know what to do? Or did you have more of a confident approach to anxiety?
I think that there were 2 sides to it. I think that in many ways I came out with the tools that I had already recognized as being tools for me, and tools that worked well for me, being the meditation and the yoga. And so that all continued. And certainly not that I have a daily meditation practice, but I know it as a strong tool for me. The opposite side, or like the flip side of that coin, was that I met someone in the ashram.
Shut up. Who? Was it Joe?
Yes.
You guys were dating?
No, it wasn't a dating thing. It was like a me being, he and I connecting as, good friends.
Wait, what was it like?
But then there was it did turn into something.
How?
After the ashram, and like a couple of little pieces post ashram.
Really?
Yeah. And that anxiety, I couldn't turn off. I couldn't turn off this. It was just a really interesting thing where I was going into this place and my intention was myself and my health, and how to always put my best foot forward. And then while in that place, I step out of it, hooking in to that place that builds anxiety and fear in me.
Which is romantic relationships with men. Yeah.
Romantic relationships with men. Yeah.
Oh my God. But Joe, I mean, he was a silver fox. I mean, he still is. I don't know what he's doing. He's like fucked off. But I think, you remember, I forget his name, but he was one of these, he's now a Swami, but he was in yellow at the time, and he had the glasses and the blonde hair. He was like, people that you learn yoga with in this life, that means that you practice yoga in another life. And that makes so much sense, because everyone, for the most part, really connected quite fast, right? Me and Tarsila, I remember this hilarious story, and she's gonna hate me for saying this out loud, but we got so close so fast. And she's Brazilian, and there's a big plastic surgery culture out there, right? And so one day, it was the talent show. Do you remember the talent show?
Oh God, yes.
It was
I have it on video.
Oh my God. I have to see that, actually, because Joe's part was amazing. He was basically roasting the ashram, roasting a bunch of these spiritual leaders, and be like,
hilarious.
It was so good, and he has such gumption. He's such balls on him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that's probably what was attractive to you about him. But I remember Tarsila pulls me aside from the yoga hall, and we're like kind of close. I think that was only like 2-3 weeks in, right? And so she takes my hands and just goes up to her tits, and I'm just like, are they fake? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay. exactly. You know how you're saying like you do this, you're here to not be tempted by anything that's like the real world, and then something like that brings you back. My friend taking my hands and putting them on her fake Brazilian titties, and then you developing this connection that would eventually lead into little specks of paint all over your canvas.
Yep. Yeah, it's a funny dichotomy, and I think that always exists, right? It's just the level at the frequency it exists.
Yeah. So whatever happened, not to like air your dirty laundry or anything, but whatever happened with you and Joe?
we had some interesting encounters over that summer, and I lost touch with him, and then he reached out of the blue like 2 years later.
You know what I call those people?
3 years.
I call them In-N-Out burgers.
Yeah.
In-N-Out. I have a person right now who's like a karmic relationship, just like your British guy. What's his name, by the way?
Charlie.
Yeah, I have one it's so crazy that's coming in and out too. But he's an In-N-Out burger. Joe's an In-N-Out burger.
Yeah. And when he popped in, we were sort of chatting it up and talking about things. And then I said, hey, you know what? Like, this actually really kind of fucking crossed a boundary with me back then. Like, what the fuck, dude? And he was like, ooh. And then it was out.
He is so Joe. That's so like him, though.
I know. Well, whatever. To each their own. Like, if you can't look at the mirror, step away from the mirror.
Yeah, but if you spend, it's literally coming full circle of how, like, just how we started talking about, like, how you can't run away from you. Not trying to dissect Joe, although he's fun to dissect. That seems like he's a nomad, and it's not that he's running away from anything, maybe he is, but he's just very non-committal in that way, right? Free bird. Yeah, but I think I'm gonna quote an Eagles song. When you're looking for your freedom, nobody seems to care.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God.
So you guys had some romance, and then he was just like, and then it's very brave and very vulnerable to even bring something up from the past that you could have maybe said in the present, but you didn't, and now you have the courage to do it. But that must have been super scary to just put yourself out there like that.
Yeah, because I think I obviously was taking a risk, and the risk being, is he going to stick around and continue to be my friend, or is he going to disappear? But it was important for me to make sure that I stated that, and he disappeared. Bye.
Goodbye. Okay, we laugh about it, but hey, what's your sign?
Aquarius.
You're an Aquarius? Of course you are. You're so cute. Yeah, that totally makes sense. But yeah, I think we're both in the way where we just like say, yeah, you can leave if you want, but it's still heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
When people decide that their quote freedom is more important than what you can bring to the table. And like every time the relationship, I call it relationship, ends, I'm always brought back to the fact that I have, and again, it's like self-worth stuff. Where you just, and you mentioned something about your father, and I wonder if this kind of like plays into things, where it's like a level of unworthiness in these kind of relationships, where it's like when every time a relationship dies, you are reminded of the things that didn't get birthed, so to speak.
Right. I mean, I have some pretty good relationships with exes, a number of them, but the ones that I was really like more over the line than they were, it was always a matter of, and this does go back to my dad, it was always a matter of, if I can get this person to love me,
Mm.
then I am lovable.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if I can get this guy to hop into this cage with me, this wild bird, then I'm fucking lovable. Instead of being like, wow, cool bird. Yeah, okay. Bye.
Yes.
You know, so, and there's just a few of those in my history. Now, granted, I was with someone from 27 to, 38 or 39, 40. So that's a huge chunk of my dating time was one person. But, it was like, oh, if I can get this guy to not want to sleep with other people, I'm worthy. And that's dad shit.
That is such dad shit.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so my dad's British, so it's funny that you're like bringing up British people. And he practices stoicism, so he's not very like emotionally available. But do you have the same relationship with your father where you just wasn't emotionally there?
Are you fucking kidding me? My dad is a wild man.
Oh my God.
He's like, laughs the hardest, first one to cry, knows everyone from the corner market to the butcher to the bank teller to, the guy working at 7-Eleven. He's like, knows everyone. So he's this like very robust character, but he was a heavy drinker from 0 to 12. And there were just a lot of times in my childhood where, my parents had parties all the time. My sister and I could bartend as soon as we could, reach the bar, which was like somewhere up there. 3 ingredients,
Which drinks did you always make?
It was all, of course it was kept simple, but oh my God, I'm trying. Of course there's like the easy ones, the vodka tonics, the rum and coke, maybe I would like float something with grenadine. But there was like a level of instability that was unsafe. And there was also plenty of times where we were just walking on eggshells and like, what kind of mood is dad going to be in? Is he going to be happy or is he going to fly off the handle about something? So rather than not being emotional, he was overly emotional.
Interesting.
And just like fully unfiltered.
So he was an open book, but with very big letters on the pages.
Yeah, and I think that the alcohol, he's such an amazing man, and he's such a lovable guy that he doesn't need the alcohol to, he may think he needs it as his medicine to operate through the world, but in terms of his character, he doesn't need it. And when he consumes it, because he's already this like open and interested and curious and let's be friends type of person, it's just larger than life. It's like adding gasoline to a bonfire, which is scary for a kid. That's scary.
Yeah. That's so interesting. Like, but he wasn't like shy of telling you he loved you, because you said that he's like an overly emotional person. So how did that like transfer over into your relationship with men if you were trying to get them to love you?
Well, what's interesting is the man that I chose, or I met Marcus, my ex, when I was 27, and he's the exact opposite of my dad. And everyone that I dated before Marcus was the opposite of my dad, like very emotionally distant or balanced or quiet or hangs back, and Marcus is an amazing father, and he and I chose him as a parenting partner. I look back on it now, it's been 5 years, and he and I co-parent so well. We totally trust each other. We totally have each other's backs. I am friends with his girlfriend, love her to pieces, you know? And he's an amazing guy to be because I am fiery as well. I am my father's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I left Marcus 5 years ago, it was that I needed more of that. I needed more of that fire. I needed somebody who wasn't going to be emotionally disconnected. And so a lot of those guys popped up for me after Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the musician, the fucking guy from the ashram, the, you know, international whatever.
Yeah.
There's like,
oh, absolutely. It's like we end up marrying or dating our parents. There's like so many psychology theories like that, right?
yeah. But what's funny is that I consciously chose the person to marry and be the father of my children who wasn't my parent.
Mm-mm.
now I'm looking for my dad.
Dad, where are you? Hello. But that ended up, like, obviously hindsight is a beautiful thing. And you look back and you're just like, that would have been great, because if I would have married someone who was really fiery, maybe we wouldn't be co-parenting so well.
Right.
Exactly. So I think that definitely worked out in your favor.
Yes.
Okay. First, I have 2 more questions for you. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can we pause really quick?
Yeah,
For some
absolutely.
reason, my it's not
Perfect
plugged in,
timing.
my
Yeah,
computer. All right.
Okay. Of course. I mean, we're divas. We get up when we want to get up. We look cute.
Can I get a little touch up?
Yeah, excuse me. Thank you. First off, okay, I have a personal question, because I should know what this is, but I don't. I'm gonna cut this out. But what is a photo producer?
So I produce photo shoots for advertising. I actually produce shoots for Banana Republic.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I hire the crew, you know, the stylists, the hair and makeup, I get all those people collected, talents, and then I manage the on-set, like just the timing, making sure everything's getting finished, and then I make sure everyone gets paid.
That's good. So do you have to be pretty analytical and responsible for that kind of work?
It's really funny because I have because I was a wardrobe stylist for years. So I've been in the photo industry for a very long time. And I just sort of transitioned into producing probably like 7 years ago, but still teetering between the two, wardrobe styling, freelance producing. And I remember I took this job 2 years ago, November, and I would tell my dear friends whom I've known who are wardrobe stylists and art directors and stuff, and I'd be like, oh God, I'm just so not a producer. Like, the budget.
Because you're afraid of it, right?
Yeah. And a number of friends were like, Heather, you can do that shit. Like, plug in the numbers, make the report, send it off. You know how to do that. That's fine. And don't worry about that. But what makes you a good producer is that when I get on set, when I get these teams together, my job is to make sure everyone's having a good time. That everyone feels comfortable, everyone feels welcome, everyone is enjoying themselves.
You're the mom of the set.
I'm the set mama. So I get to like
love it.
Turn on the music. I get to sort of like come out and, do a little song and dance for everyone and just keep the vibe going. So yes, there's this like paper pushing, there's this logistical part to it, but the part that I love the most is the atmospheric.
I have the same perspective. Like, I think that I'll probably go into film producing, but there is that fear. It's like, well, I'm a right brain thinker, right? Like, I'm a really creative person. What if I can't be what they want in that specific field? But then it goes back to what you were saying about like going to a party, even though you have anxiety about it. Eventually you just have to say, fuck it. Yeah. And that's what this podcast is about. It's like, which brings us to our thesis question. Are you ready? Drum roll. Heather Goodman, if you could truly live fearlessly, what would you do?
I would be a fucking rock star. I'd be singing my brains out and dancing my ass off on some stage somewhere. But instead, I'm photo producing and dancing my ass off in front of 12 other people. They watch the show.
You pretty much already got rock star hair, though.
Oh, it's
Steven,
just, you
Steven
just don't
Tyler.
brush. That's all it's.
No, yeah.
Exactly.
If you just like replace your face, like that's an outfit Steven Tyler would wear.
I should have worn my white leather flares.
Oh my God.
Tyler.
What a missed opportunity that was, Heather.
I know.
I can't. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I can't wait to be in your presence again.